Have you ever had a secret so heavy it felt like lead in your pocket? A truth so sharp it threatened to slice through a beautiful lie you were forced to watch unfold? I'm not talking about a petty secret. I'm talking about a betrayal so cold and calculated it was meant to steal not just money, but a legacy. And it was all about to be sealed with a kiss and a wedding vow. But I wasn't just a guest at that wedding. I was the silent, watchful guardian of everything my family had built. And I wasn't about to let a con artist walk away with it. This is the story of how a bride's confession caught on a flimsy tape recorder saved my family. If you've ever felt the sweet, quiet satisfaction of vindication, of watching a liar get their comeuppance, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and get ready for a story where justice isn't just served, it's exquisitely crafted and delivered at the most dramatic moment possible. It's time to dive into the revenge story you've been waiting for. I was standing outside the bridal suite, a bottle of water in one hand and a folded napkin in the other. I'd been sent on a pointless errand, a subtle way to get me out of the way, I now realize. The door was slightly ajar, and I wasn't meant to hear anything. But as I raised my hand to knock, her voice, Candela's voice, floated out. It was light, melodic, and edged with a careless amusement that chilled me to the bone. "I'm divorcing him once the inheritance clears," she said. The words stopped me cold. Inside, I could hear the rustle of satin and the faint, muffled voice of a man on speakerphone, but hers was sharp and clear as glass. "I'll stay just long enough to wrap the trust. Then I'm done. Baby or no baby." My hand tightened on the napkin, the fabric crumpling into a tight ball. I backed away slowly, my mind a storm of disbelief. Candela, the woman my son Kyle was about to marry, the woman who was carrying his child, or so he believed, had just confessed to a monumental fraud. The Drayton Trust, the very legacy my late husband and I had built, was her only target. My chest felt hollow, but my steps were steady. I walked past the beautifully arranged floral arch, a detail I'd personally helped with just that morning. I saw the table with Kyle's childhood photos, a young boy with muddy hands holding up a frog with a proud grin. A lump formed in my throat. This was my son's dream. This was his future. And this woman was a parasite ready to consume it all. I found a quiet garden path away from the pre-wedding chaos. My hands were shaking now, not from fear, but from a surge of clear, cold anger. My fingers hovered over a contact labeled Attorney M. Halden. I hit call. No answer. I left a message, my voice calm and steady despite the seismic shift happening inside me. "Hi, Margaret. I need you to pause the transfer. The Drayton Trust. All of it." My mission became crystal clear in that moment. I wasn't going to tell Kyle. Not yet. He was so utterly, blissfully blind, a man lost in the dazzling illusion Candela had woven. He'd adjusted his tie and asked if the boutonniere looked crooked. He beamed as he showed me a photo of her veil. I watched his face in that moment, the joy, the awe, the utter devotion. And I knew that if I told him what I'd heard, he would defend her. He'd find a way to explain it away, to believe in her goodness over my word. I had to let him see the truth for himself. Candela thought she had me pegged. The quiet one, the nurse, the helper, the woman who knew when to leave the room. She didn't know what it took to raise a child alone on night shifts and weekend doubles. She didn't know what it meant to sit beside a hospital bed watching machines breathe for her infant son, ready to sell her own lungs to make him live. She didn't know that quiet didn't mean weak. It meant watchful, strategic, patient. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to plan. That night, sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. I sat at my desk with a manila folder Candela had handed me just a week before. She'd called them documents to review, but they were so much more. The language was polished, professional, but deeply aggressive. If Kyle and I had signed these, the trust assets would become joint marital property. Easy to split, easy to vanish. I tucked them into an envelope and locked them away. I reached out to an old friend, Dana Merrick, a meticulous paralegal who now worked for a family law firm. Her message arrived at 2:41 a.m. Found 2 marriages under the name Candela Marie Vero. One dissolved after 9 months, man filed for bankruptcy shortly after. The other ended in a contested divorce. She got the condo. The pattern was undeniable. She wasn't an innocent bride. She was a professional. There was no mention of children, no long-term employment, just a trail of shattered lives and long-term consequences for someone else. I printed the contact card for a private investigator. I wasn't chasing drama. I was confirming what I already knew in my gut. At the family dinner, Candela was the star. She sat with one hand on her belly, the other twirling her glass, a master of her performance. When one of Kyle's co-workers asked for baby name ideas, her mask slipped just for a second. "Oh, we've tossed a few around," she grinned. "I like Micah. Silas likes it too." Silence. Just a second, but it was enough. Kyle laughed, confused. "You mean I like it?" Candela's smile didn't falter, but her hand froze. "Right, sorry, brain fog." The moment passed, but the name stuck in my mind like a shard of glass. Silas. Later that night, as Kyle helped with dishes, her phone buzzed on the counter. S. Marin. Missed call. Then again, I picked it up, not to snoop, just to look. I snapped a quick photo, a single crucial piece of evidence. I set the phone down exactly as I'd found it and walked away. The final thread of her web was about to collapse. The day of the wedding, I arrived early, citing a need to check on the hydrangeas. The bridal suite was empty, sunlight pouring in. I walked in slowly, a small matte black voice recorder clutched in my hand. I slid it deep beneath the seat cushion of the tufted love seat, knowing the room's high ceilings and polished walls would amplify every sound. Later, in the back lot, I sat in my car, windows rolled up, the heat building. I pressed play on the recorder. First, a faint rustle, then her voice, lighter than usual, almost giddy. "He still thinks the baby's his. God, I'm good." There was a soft laugh. Then, "Once the Drayton Trust clears, I'm out. That name should be mine already." Every word was a confirmation, every syllable a nail in her coffin. I let it play once more, slower this time. Then I transferred the audio file to a USB drive, a small, unassuming flash drive that held more power than a bomb. I found Eric, the young AV tech, crouched near the reception hall adjusting his wireless mics. "I need your help with something small," I said quietly. I handed him the USB and a check for double his going rate. "When I touch my bracelet, like this, play the file, full volume, no intro, no fade-in." He took the check, his eyes widening slightly, and with a muttered, "I'll cue it now," he slipped the USB into his laptop. The music swelled, a soft stringed melody. Guests rose in unison as Candela stepped into view, a vision in white. Her smile was practiced, perfect. Kyle stood under the arch, his eyes locked on her like she was sunlight itself. "We are gathered here today to witness the union," the officiant began. I touched my bracelet. A subtle crackle from the speakers, then the clear crystalline voice of the bride-to-be filled the air, cutting through the sweet music like a shard of glass. "He still thinks the baby's his. God, I'm good." Gasps rippled through the chairs, faces turned, confused. "Once the Drayton Trust clears, I'm out. That name should be mine already." Silence. Not a single person moved. Candace froze at the top of the aisle, the color draining from her face. Her bouquet tipped slightly in her hand. "No, that's not me." Her voice was tiny in the deafening silence that followed, a lie shrinking under the weight of the truth. Kyle took a step back, his smile gone. His eyes darted to me, then back to the speakers, then to her. Candela turned and fled, her white gown dragging behind her like a discarded curtain. No one followed. Kyle didn't move. He simply turned and walked away, his steps heavy, mechanical, and silent. He disappeared into a side hall and the lock clicked. Candela, in her rage, was intercepted by 2 security staff. "You can't just— This is our wedding," she snapped. One of the guards leaned in. "Not anymore." I turned away, pulling out my phone. A single message from Margaret, my attorney. "Trust remains untouched. Documents never executed. No legal claim." The confirmation was a balm to my soul. The veil lay on the floor near the altar, crumpled and forgotten. Its edge was slightly singed where it had caught a loose tea candle. In the silence that followed, I knew Kyle would find me when he was ready. Some truths, after all, are meant to stop a wedding, not define a life. Candela was a gust of wind, a passing storm, but our family, our legacy, was a tree with deep, stubborn roots. We all have a story about a time we had to stand up for ourselves or for someone we love. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed or experienced? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story of quiet patience and a perfectly executed plan resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales where justice prevails. Thank you for listening.